Hey guys, welcome back to my garage. In this video I want to accomplish a few things. One, majorly drastically reorganize this and do some triage on a bunch of sets that were delivered. So recently all the predictors I had restored got shipped out and a bunch of more sets dropped off. I had to move quick, so they just kind of got dumped in the garage on top of stuff I picked up at the Antique Radio Club, Radio Fest, and the Early Television Foundation swap meet in May. So we have layers of stuff. And the worst part of it is the stuff that I really want to get out of here is the stuff furthest back. There is another swap meet coming up next weekend, and I'm hoping to bring some stuff to sell or trade or donate. Some of the stuff just shouldn't even be here, and some of it should get parted out. Most of what's back there are parts chassis, and I need to get some parts out of some of them. Some of it is CRTs up on the top that I can put elsewhere. That is something I need to pull down and do a video on, see if I can fix it, and then probably sell it, and so on. When I was sorting through tubes, I weeded out a lot of the compactrons and tubes I didn't think I'd be using, and they ended up out here as well. So, yeah, the idea is to pull everything out, reorganize it, put some of it back, and check out TVs that were dropped off while I'm going about it. In particular, I want to check the picture tubes and see what's what. Now, I already know, for example, he dropped off an RCA 8T241, which I just restored a few months back, 6 months, 10 months ago. This looks slightly different on the front. They made an 8T241 and a 9T241. But the problem with this one is it looks like it was a mouse house inside, and there's a lot of nastiness and corrosion on top of the chassis. He said it worked at some point, and it has a rebuilt CRT in it. However, my rebuilt one over here, I really don't have much use for. It was one of the first vintage sets I got, so it had some sentimental value, but really most of the value to me was I wanted to finally get it working someday, because when I got it, I didn't feel I knew enough about vintage TVs to work on it. So you can see it's partially disassembled, as is his, so what we were thinking is let's mix and match and take the best parts and make one good complete set. So my chassis is rather pristine and fully working. His cabinet might be better than mine. His CRT might be better than mine. So that's one piece of the puzzle. Here's a chassis for an RCA console. Very similar chassis, maybe identical. It's much, much, much cleaner. So this will get restored, but we're going to check the picture tube. I think it's a 12-incher. What else do we have? Oh yeah, this guy. Choose a Crosley, I think. It's a Crosley clone or rebadged RCA 630 TS. An interesting mishmash of knobs. I never got a good look at this. As I say, these are dropped off hastily. That's Philco knob. Not sure what is missing from there. I presume these are the original knobs. Fantastic chassis. They made, I think, literally 1 million plus of these. I remember seeing an ad somewhere about the 1 millionth chassis being made, but I can't find it anymore. So if any of you recall seeing the some ad or something about the 1 millionth RCA 630 TS chassis being made, I'd be interested. Fantastic performers, but they also weigh upwards of 100 pounds, so it's tough to collect a lot of them, but we'll do what we can with this to get it going. And I see this. It's a common problem with these. They use laminated safety glass. You start getting fingers appearing in the plastic layer between the two sheets of glass. Not much you can do about that aside from replace the glass. We have GE Bakelite locomotive. It's the 10T1 edition with the double D mask. Is a later edition than the earlier 800 series. Not my favorite set to work on, but they do perform well, and he has all the knobs, so that's a big plus. But there's cabinet damage, so time for maybe some crazy glue and Bondo and paint it, or I'll try to dig up a better cabinet. If I do have another cabinet, though, it's going to be a double D. I've never had, I mean, it's going to be the early rounded rectangular. I've never had a double D cabinet before. I'll look for one at the swap meet, but I'm not holding out too much hope, because this is what happens to them. There are far more good chassis and CRTs than there are unbroken Bakelite cabinets. But I've done it before. We can do it again. Between super glue and epoxy and Bondo and painting, I don't see any reason, assuming all the major pieces are here, that we can't do something with this cabinet. This, man, I know there's a lot of Zenith devotees out there, and this set does look cool from the front. This is the cheapest, crappiest cabinet I've ever come across. So we can compare and contrast. Here's the RCA on top, the chassis we just saw a moment ago. As one of you pointed out, it's amusing that the speaker is the same diameter as this picture tube. This is your standard construction. Plywood, poplar cabinet, plywood sides, mahogany veneer. They went a little thin on the plywood here, but it's a pretty sound cabinet. The Zenith, I believe this is poplar for the cabinet. It's seen better days. I got some water damage. All the joints have opened up. Plywood shelf that's sagging. They should have gone thicker on that or used bigger braces. This does have some weight. Big CRT. It's mounted to the chassis, not the cabinet. So we got all that weight and a transformer. This plywood is really deformed. The sides of this, one of which fell off, the sides of this are masonite. And I'm not even sure if this is real mahogany veneer or if it's a faux finish. I think it's veneer over masonite. I've never seen a cabinet made like that. That, sorry to say, that is really, really, really cheap. There is zero structural integrity to this. It might as well be just a sheet of cardboard practically. So it's not surprising that it's falling apart. However, it does look cool from the front. It looks like a Flashmatic, although it is not a Flashmatic, but they used a very similar bezel. I'll try to move this around. To be honest, I'm kind of wary of moving it at all, considering the condition it's in. Let's better look at the chassis. Ooh, that's seen better days. The interlock's busted off and this got smashed in. Don't have the back to the set, and I think you can really see. Yeah. Ugh. Tuner, it's a bit loose. So yeah, I mean, I gotta talk with the owner. You just gotta think long and hard about this. This is a major cabinetry project to really make this sturdy and sound. If I was going to do it, I might even want to just measure these dimensions and make a new cabinet and reuse the sides and the top maybe. For sure the whole bottom has to be replaced. This plywood deck should be replaced. So yeah. Winters are coming too, so I can't do really any woodworking out in the garage till next year. And I have limited ability to do so inside during the winter. Oh, what else? So we have some stuff back here from literally when we moved in the house, and I just dropped stuff off here. Down there is a little, boy, I forgot that was out here. It's a little Bakelite tabletop radio that I restored in a YouTube video many, many years ago. That is the RCA 222 cabinet that I originally bought with the legs chopped off. It's so pretty, I've been hanging on to it, but I really have no use for it. That speaker, I'm not sure. But I do have a Philco inside that's missing its speaker, and that could very well, that probably is the speaker that I've been looking for. That is a CRT I scavenged out of an RCA that got parted out, which I want to see if it'll fit. So I picked up at the ETF swap meet, something down here. I also want to get out of here and get inside. It's the RCA Craftsman 200 chrome-plated chassis. I'll take a peek at it when I pull this stuff out. And it needs a picture tube. I have a feeling it needs a 20-inch rectangular or 20 CP4. That's a 21-inch. I want to find out now what it needs. If I'm going to the TV museum, I might be able to pick up the picture tube I need. So we definitely need to check that out. Some of these other boxes are duds, so when we restored all those predictors recently, I swapped out the picture tubes. Like that had a 21 EMP4 in it, which fit very nicely into a predictor. Now it's got the old dud inside. So dud. I don't know what to do with them. I have probably a dozen dud picture tubes at this point. The thought was they would get rebuilt someday, but just from a practical point of view, I don't know how long I can keep hanging on to all this stuff. I hate to throw things away, though, because I'll tell you what. Where did I put it? Oh, yeah. One of these chassis that the owner dropped off for restoration, it's missing the high voltage cover. It's an RCA. I've been saving this for 15 years. I'm pretty sure this is what he needs. That's why I hang on to this stuff. You never know. So I can almost guarantee that as soon as you throw something out that you think you will never, ever, ever need, you're going to need it. Likewise, this from a scrapped out set, this was the cover that protected the CRT neck that was exposed. I bet one of these sets could use it, one that's missing a back. So hang on to it. Of course, a plastic flower pot will do in a pinch too. Oh, some of this stuff, boy, I'm really on the fence. That's an empty tandem cabinet. I don't have any use for it. Don't have the legs for it. Don't have a chassis or a CRT or anything. It's just literally the wooden cabinet base. I got a little bit of water damage, just some warpage on it. I'm still hanging on to it. And this is a Franken radio I picked up many years ago. Did a video on it many years ago. I don't know what to do with it. Donate it to the radio club, I suppose. All right. All that aside, as soon as I get all this stuff out of the way, that's other thing I'm really hoping to do today before the sun sets. That's the RCA projection set. I want to pull it out and start pulling the chassis out of it and bring it inside. Here's the Radio Craftsman TV chassis. I looked at some of the paperwork that came with it, and it's a 16 TP4 tube, not a 20-inch. Here's the screen surround, and sure enough, it's about 16 inches. I imagine there'd be some padding that went in there, so that's good, because I have 16-inch rectangulars. This is first generation rectangular CRTs, which are extremely flat on the sides and have thicker glass. Within a year or two, they made them more rounded and went to odd numbers. So instead of 16 and 20 inch, they went to 17 and 21. They made them a little rounder, which is inherently stronger, so you can use thinner glass. Anyways, I'm glad I checked, because now I know I don't need a 20-inch CRT. I can use one that I already have, and that means I can sell or swap this one or donate it. So I'll be bringing that to the TV swap meet, get it out of here, free up some space. Alrighty, so let's check some CRTs next. Here's the RCA chassis for the console. Looks to be really, really clean. What is it? KCS 34B. Sure looks like it could be the original CRT. It's RCA Victor. I'll pull out the what I think now is a 9T241, and let's check this one too. It's subtly different than my 8T241. For example, I noticed the bevel. There's a bevel on the speaker cover or access hatch, whereas on mine it's 90 degree. Looks a bit rough now, but this would clean up pretty nice. This is all real veneer. This is photo finish though. Same as my projection set, but I've been looking online. Some of you sent me some links or suggested I use modern wood grain vinyl or other type products, and yeah, there's some interesting looking stuff on Amazon, really cheap too, so I figured I'd buy some and experiment. But wood grained, I don't know what you want to call it, a sticker. Not quite like a vinyl car wrap where it's stretchy, I don't think, but sort of like, yeah, wallpaper, self-adhesive, wood-looking stuff. I don't know if it's paper or what it's actually made out of, but it looks really good, and it's inexpensive, and if I could slap some on here, that could be a win. The front looks in pretty good shape. The front has a fake figured kind of flame mahogany look. It's really the edge that's bad. Anyways, and let's check this guy too, the Crosley. 10 BP4, 10 BP4, 12 LP4, I do believe. Let's start out with the Zenith actually, which is a 21 ALP4. Using my B&K 440 because I don't need to use any adapters or anything. It just, all these have the same base. It just fits on. CRTs are lit up. We've already got a half moon on the G1. Ideally we want a half moon on the left side of the G1 and G2. It's not uncommon for these to take a while to wake up. Let's just jump to emissions to see if we have any. Wiggling the connector a little here in case it's not making good contact. Oh, that's not a good sign. And we have no cutoff control. Really weak. Could be an open grid. Who knows? I'm trying to see, is that also, would that be compatible? That looks like it's a bit steeper. This is maybe 90 degrees, and I think that one is 70 degrees. So I don't think I could swap one for the other. I'm going to goose it a little bit to 7 volts. Yeah, we do have some emissions. And we barely have some cutoff control. So I would say that is a very, very weak CRT. And this one just starting to go up to 8 for a little bit. It can handle it. It's about the same as what a brightener would do. See, this is starting to flicker to life more and more. Yeah, we're getting there. Kind of fun to watch these come back to life. It's not at all uncommon if you wait 10-15 minutes to be well into the green and be a good CRT. This might not have been turned on in 50-60 years. And we have good cutoff. Well, you're not looking for the needle to swing really wide, it just needs to get on that little line, which is 1 tick above 0. Now, yeah, of course, I'm running it at 8.4 volts. As soon as that stops increasing, I'll drop it back down to 6.3. I guess you could call this doing a really, really gentle rejuvenation. Alright, let's go down to 6.3. Of course, it's going to drop. Seems to be holding steady around 500. It's actually going up a little bit. Alrighty. Both of these are on solid now. We've got good cutoff. We're all down at 6.3 still. And we can do a little life test. Not the greatest life test, but it's certainly good. It's certainly good. Alright, that's one down. Now this guy. Let's see, is there a model? Oh, it is an 8T241. Huh. Alright. Boy, I really got to think long and hard about this. This is not as bad as I initially thought. It looks fine over here. Looks to be just especially bad in this area. This is that high voltage cover I've been hanging on to all this time. I do believe it is missing from this. Yeah, so another plus to restore this. Let's see about testing it. We have glowage, always a good thing. At least, well, I left this in the emissions position, and well, he did say this had a good CRT in it, and that will definitely appear to be the case. I meant to leave it in this position. So for this to wake up that fast and have both of these lit up, yeah, this is a good CRT. Plenty of cutoff range. And life test. Not great, but I don't put too much into that life test, especially when the CRT's only been on for a minute. So what does the life test do? It cuts the juice to the filament. So normally 6.3 volts drops down to 5, maybe less. The idea being that a really strong cathode will still produce strong emissions that are reduced heater voltage. Yeah, alright, so you get another reason to attempt this. Now the one thing he doesn't have is the back. So I'll add that to my shopping list. Try to find a back for this model. Alright, onward and upward, let's do the Crosley. I've been cleaning out this corner of the garage and went to put the Zenith up on some blocks off the ground, and the cabinet just almost completely disintegrated. The other side fell off and the bottom split in half. Now I'm going to get a better look at it. You can see there's definitely some rodents, squirrels, whatever living inside. Yeah, so. But it has wheels. Or had wheels. So, I don't know. It's barely hanging on as it is. So these sides were just glued on apparently. Not even little brad nails or anything. Just some type of glue that obviously isn't holding anymore. So yeah, as I said, we'll have to have a talk. Now on the plus side, if I was to rebuild this, it's pretty darn simple. The front maybe I can retain because that's screwed together and has glue blocks. It has some integrity. This back, if these are standard dimensions, I can just go buy some of this, cut them to length, and get some new angle brackets, screws, and cobble something together and just glue the sides back on. So maybe it's not that hopeless. Don't have the back for it though. But yeah, that's it's a little bit of a challenge there. Now for the Crosley, very, very clean looking inside. Has an electromagnetic ion trap magnet. CRT has come up real fast. Got emissions into the good. And we have cutoff control. As I said, these things are built like tanks. A lot of caps, 30 tubes, draw a ton of power, but they do work very well. Filament is glowing. Got both our lights on. Really weak emissions though, it's kind of odd. Try wiggling this a little. Nope. And no cutoff. Let's, we lost the G2 light. Maybe I'm not making good contact on something. And G2's coming back. There comes some emissions. We do a sound cutoff. Alright, let's accelerate this a little. Let's go back to 6.3. Holding steady in the good. Continuing to climb a little. It's like that other one we did where it's just tired. Let this sit a while longer, I'm sure it'll be fine. And do a life test for the heck of it. Yeah, I figured it would drop off a little. The important thing is it comes back up at 6.3, so yeah, this will work fine. Both lights on solid, plenty of cutoff. Cool. Some very successful triaging. See what I mean? Making terrible use of these shelves. Don't even have anything in some areas. Now, what else is also on here? A lot of estate treasures. Especially down here, all stuff that I will be doing videos on, but I couldn't get to it for so long because all the stuff was out here. So I should probably pull all that stuff out too. What I'm thinking is if these shelves are high enough, they can take a fair bit of weight. Maybe we'll put one or two of these sets. So these are the shelves I have used for TVs in the past, but they're not all that long. They are deep enough, but these use a cheap shelving material that sags and dips without even all that much weight on it. But also, yeah, they're adjustable, but adjusting them is not at all easy once it is assembled. So, yeah, anyways. For sure, if I take these out, I can get one set up here. It's probably not high enough, but maybe move this stuff over to there. Anyways, there is the RCA projection set, so just about reached it. That is not the speaker I was looking for. Neither is that, or that, or that. Well, the one back there. I'm looking for the speaker for my Philco 3710 that I restored, just about done. I worked on it years ago back in the old apartment, and I don't know how to do with the speaker. I'm generally very careful with them, so I'm sure it's around somewhere. And finally, haven't seen this guy in, well, since I got here. Briefly, I want to address a few things that, some common observations in the first video. One, I want to make it clear that what is fake finish and what is not. Real veneer, real veneer, real veneer. The fake on the front is this 1 inch wide on the top on this. Real wood, real wood. And this might also be faux finish, but it's different from that. Can't quite tell. Faux finish. Real finish, I believe. Faux finish, real finish. So it's definitely a mix of both. The strip along the bottom, I can't tell. Inside, real, fake. Real fake, right next to each other. Haven't decided what I'll do about it, but I'm not too worried about that. Another common comment was about this. I've insisted a few times that it's frosted glass, but no, I am wrong. It is a Fresnel lens. Several of you pointed that out. Because when I thought of it, I immediately was thinking of magnification, and I didn't think this needed that, but I didn't realize there was another way they can make this so it helps to focus and make the image brighter. It's not so much magnifying it. So yes, this most definitely is a Fresnel lens. As far as the image quality, a few of you said I'm going to be disappointed. Why did they even bother? It was bigger, but for all the extra expense and hassle and all that. Well, this is what was available about the same time. This came out, they introduced this optical system in 46 and made it till about 49. So it had a 3-4 year run. They used the same insides in all of those models for all those years. So initially in 46, basically your choices for picture tube was 7, 10 inch being the most common, maybe 12 or bigger if you got a Dumont, we're willing to really spend the money. But basically 7 or 10 were your choices. This is huge. This is a 24, 26 inches diagonal, something like that. So yes, it was worth the effort. Also, this optical projection system, they had a beefier 7-inch version used in movie theaters. So this system wasn't just for home TV. There were other applications for it. As far as how it works, I posted some diagrams. There's an RCA literature just explaining how this optical system worked. They started developing it in the early 40s. They spent years on this. What it comes down to is the CRT points down. It goes into a parabolic mirror that shoots it back up. It goes through a round corrective lens. I showed it as a clear piece. I thought it was a clear piece of glass in the earlier video. No, that's plastic and it's molded and it's like a contact lens. That helps focus it, guide it towards a 45-degree mirror, and then it goes out the front. And no, miraculously, the way they have it set up, you'd think the CRT pointing down, the light comes up, going to be a big circle in the middle. No, the way the CRT goes down and hits the mirror and comes back up, it goes all around that CRT, and with the corrective lens, it forms a coherent image with no shadows, no blank spots. Huh, this is kind of unexpected too. I think some of these wiring harnesses are relatively modern fabrications, these two I'm looking at, because the older ones are cloth covered. They're very dingy looking, and this is plastic and modern. Now I did get some of the history of the set, and I believe it was missing a chassis or two when it was originally acquired. When it was restored, parts were found from donor chassis. Maybe he had to make up cables. Well, now, if all goes as planned, next week I'm picking up a donor set. Cabinet is really bad. It's really bad condition, and chassis look to be somewhat corroded, but it's the same setup, just a different cabinet configuration. So if I'm missing anything, hopefully I can scavenge it from that, like cables. So I'm trying to figure out how these look to be hardwired straight into the chassis. So I gotta see where the other ends go, because I'm trying to figure out how to disconnect them. Well, I think that's it for the triage. I still have a little bit of work to do packing stuff better in here, but I accomplished the main goals. I chucked out all the sets that were here. I have them packed more compactly, more out of the way, and I pulled out stuff that I wanted to look at now or needed now. Boy, I made a to-do list for this year, one of which was to install this bathroom vanity. I just didn't get to it. Maybe over the winter. Anyways, this is going to take a while. So I think I'll leave off here. I hope you enjoyed this crazy look at stuff out here. I will be doing follow-up videos, of course, on each of these sets as I restore them We'll take a closer look at the Craftsman, and I'll dig out an appropriate CRT for my storage space. And now that I can get at them, we'll be doing more Estate Treasures videos. There's a Q meter down there, some early HP audio oscillators, a strobe light, some roll regulating power transformers, isolation transformers, some heavy iron stuff, some impedance bridges, RC bridges, some military stuff. Lots of interesting stuff coming up. That's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more in-depth footage on this RCA projection set, please subscribe to me at Patreon. In addition to videos on this set, I have a lot of behind-the-scenes footage, some extras, some smaller projects that you won't see on the main YouTube channel. Thanks.